all the members that are present today. This is I guess, the second meeting that we have face-to-face after the pandemic, famous pandemic. So I'm very happy you're here. And also I want to thank the Infiniti group, the Infiniti people, to presenting this beauty downstairs, the QX60. We are thinking we're not going to have a party by the end of the year, but we are thinking have a small gathering, social gathering with the members. We're thinking on that and trying to put it together. There's not many places to do that. So we'll let you know by email what's going on. Marcelito.
Thank you, Vice President. Thank you once again. Thanks to the members that came. I know everybody's got really busy schedules and work, so thanks for taking the time. We really appreciate it. Obviously, Aideen, Clark, for putting the whole thing together. We really appreciate you bringing the vehicles and doing this for us. As Vice President mentioned, it's our second meeting in person, which we've been trying to get more of these going, where we can actually see each other, even through this COVID pandemic, and get to spend some time together. So very much. Thank you, Tim Franklin, for coming here. We're going to get to learn all about the all-new Infiniti Qx60. I was lucky enough to be part of an amazing launch they did in California. It is an amazing vehicle. You're going to learn a lot of things about it, and of course, let's get it out there and expose in the product so everybody can read about it, the consumers. And I'm sure we'll do a walk around later on the vehicle so we can learn more about that gorgeous, amazing vehicle. Thanks everybody for being here. In terms of Treasury Department, we're about 1,500. We're good. Everything's under control. It's been a different year. We're hoping that 2022 is going to be much better. We can see each other. As you mentioned, we're thinking of doing something for the holiday where we get together, not the usual party that we would have here and get all dancing shoes and all that stuff, but at least we can get together, maybe have a couple of drinks and spend some quality time with each other and your families and your loved ones and so forth. So that's kind of the plan. So once again, I'm going to pass the microphone to our dear friends here at Infiniti, and let's have a great day. Thanks for coming out once again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcello. Thanks for the excuse to get a Cuban coffee and a Cuban sandwich. I landed, I made Tony stop on the way before I came here. No, this food I'm sure is going to be great and all of that. I don't come to South Florida for grilled chicken. That's not the best thing to have down here. But. So I'm going to take a few minutes and go through. I have a ridiculous number of slides. I love what I do. I'm passionate about cars, and so sometimes I speak too fast. So you'll hear me, but just tell me, somebody wave at me and say, slow down, Tim, if I get going too fast. Give me the stink eye if you need to.
And we can share these slides with you.
And we'll share the slides for sure. So I want to give you a taste about what we were trying to do with QX60, kind of really around the customer, and then some of the features. And then I understand we'll have some time. Thank you. Oh, there we go. There's my name. So it's be a little bit informal. I'll try to make it through the slides. I'm not going to cover every sentence in the slide. You can read it. You'll get the slides. But I hope you hear the passion that we have for this product. QX60 is very, very important to Infiniti as a brand. It's been our #1 seller for many years. There's a lot of volume in this space, and there's a lot of great customers we have that will be returning back to us, and we want to keep them and delight them. So there we go with that introduction. Boy, it's really bright there. I didn't probably see that. So, our vision, right? So a luxury SUV that conquers life and style. You'll hear this wording perhaps in our marketing communications here and there. Really this sort of sleek and beautiful but modern exterior, not over the top, but very handsome and attractive that will go forward. I think you'll see from a styling point of view, it really will appeal to a broad audience. We've heard a lot of that, both male customers and female customers will appreciate the styling, which was certainly intentional. There's a lot of it we want to appeal to a broad audience, but we also want to have a strong presence in that regard. And then really comfort for all 3 rows. This is a family vehicle. It's a 3-row SUV. Every row needs a service purpose, right? This is not a 2-row plus maybe an optional 3rd row or something. This is actually intentionally meant to be a 3-row to serve the family needs for a 3-row. And then of course, technology important, confident driving. Luxury customers have very high standards. They're not looking for compromise. And so this is a vehicle also I'm really proud of. I've done many press events over the years and many cars, And this is honestly one of the easiest, because just nothing to apologize. We're really, really proud of this car. I hope you guys appreciate it. It's not a perfect car, there's no such thing, but it's pretty dang close, and it's kind of our experience. So I hope you feel that way. So again, everything starts with the customer. Actually, last night I was on a phone call till 11:30, going over customer research for the new Infiniti Qx60 that's coming. So again, it all starts with the customer and our understanding of who the customer is. And so you'll see the marketing communications, this kind of coming out around these 4 areas. You'll see daily commute, you'll see family taxi, and couples night out and family journey. This is a very versatile vehicle. These just serve a lot of needs. This is not just to use it on Sunday afternoon kind of vehicle. It really has to be have a wide audience. You'll see these themes in the marketing communications and in the spec and feature of the vehicle itself. All it really starts with sort of the drive. This is a car, driving experience matters. Luxury customers care about the driving experience, and this is also true for family vehicles. It matters a lot. So we've been able to keep the V6, 295 horsepower. The big change for us is the 9-speed automatic, which is a big improvement, I think. We enjoy it, we appreciate it too quite well. And then continue to improve things like fuel economy. It matters. People want to use this for lots of driving, lots of road trips. Fuel economy on the old one was quite good. On this one is also even better. So with that, maybe even not as important in South Florida or Florida, but it is actually the need for all-wheel drive for the purposes of confidence, whether it's wet weather or low traction scenarios. It doesn't even see that in Florida that maybe we wouldn't have seen a dozen years ago. The desire for an all-wheel drive capability is there for sure. That. There we go. So of course this scene won't really resonate with you guys, the snow scene, but we made some continue to make improvements on the all-wheel drive technology. The coupling that shifts power front to rear, we redesigned it. It actually reduces the reaction time. It requires no slippage at all to engage the front shaft to the rear shaft. It instantaneously can engage, whereas the prior design was quite adequate, did a great job. We saw an opportunity for improvement. The news even reduces the time of reaction even more so. We'll talk in fractions in a second. But again, it communicates and contributes to this confident driving experience that this customer really wants and cares about. So we should use the sort of hill climb on snow is kind of the worst case scenario from a traction point of view. So if you win in that scenario, you can win sandy parking lots or wherever else that might be, or boat ramps, frankly. Maybe that's more appropriate. So change the photos for boat launches here. Drive modes. So drive modes. Again, you get in the car, some days you feel just kind of, you want to cruise along, you're not in a hurry. Some days you want a little more enthusiastic drive. By drive mode selector, there's 5 different drive modes you can select. It's right down by your right hand of the shifter. You can read them right there. Even with the last one being, you can adjust your settings to your own personal desire from both the throttle and the steering response. So again, nice way to tailor the vehicle to how you feel that day. Continues, we've done this in all other Infinitis as well. From ride comfort point of view, a lot of attention to detail. It's amazing, new vehicle, new platform, a lot of energy went into making sure we improve and take the game up. It's a competitive segment. We've done very well with Qx60, the first generation. The second generation, we wanted to continue with this. A lot of effort. You can see notes there on roll stiffness. A lot of work to strike that balance between good handling and ride comfort, but not sacrificing the handling. It's always a line you have to weave. And I think we've done a really great job. I think you get to drive the little drive. Some of you've already driven, I think. Others will get to eventually longer term. It's a fun vehicle to drive. Marcelo mentioned we got to drive it out west in the Napa Valley, and some nice tossable roads. It's a big SUV, but it's actually engaging and light on its feet. And I hope you experienced that. And a lot of effort went into that. I won't read all the details, but you'll read it to really focus on that balance. Infiniti is being kind of fun to drive, Japanese luxury. That's kind of our internal psychology that even matters in a car like this. It's still got to be fun to drive. From a steering point of view, a lot of changes. Rack mount EPS now, but gives us a lot of flexibility to tune the steering based on the scene, whether you're in a parking lot scene or whether you're in a highway scene. The needs are different from an effort point of view. And if you're super tuned light effort on highway speed, it could also be jittery or require more energy to drive. So also considering the scenes you're in, the changes in the steering design allow us some flexibility to again make the car comfortable and nice to drive on a long road trip. That was really speaking about 40% of steering correction on the highway with a more sophisticated rack mounted EPS. towing. This is one I think that I've been super surprised at the response, how important this is. You would think, I mean, this is an SUV, a sport utility vehicle. People hauling their family, they're hauling their gear, they're hauling, and the hitches, whether it's used for bicycles or gear storage to go to the beach, or whether they're towing their boats. I have Jim and I were just talking, I have a 1984 Ski Nautique made here in Orlando, and I tow it. It's great, it's about 3,500 pounds, no problem, even with the base condition. It's nice, this confident driving vehicle you can tow with, and we've been very surprised at the response. It also speaks to the durability, I think. This is one of the best tow ratings in the segment. It speaks to our significance and priority we put on the durability and reliability of the vehicle. So you'll see that. There is a standard 3,500, 6,000 pound max, autograph trim. The tow package is standard, it's optional below that on the Century Rate. Fuel economy, I mentioned that was a nice grid with lots of numbers. We basically were able to improve a little bit from the outgoing generation, despite adding all this content, all this more premium features. It's really something we have balanced. I think we've done a remarkable job of. You'll drive the car, it's gotta be fun to drive. Luxury customers are not gonna take a lackluster vehicle from a dynamics point of view at the expense of fuel economy. I think we've been able to give both. The car drives very nicely and delivers really fantastic fuel economy versus key competitors. So I think we'll see that today. 9-speed gives a lot of choice, a lot of opportunities there, a lot of work with styling and drag, you can see on the note there. But again, the important piece of information is solid performance on fuel economy. And then, sorry, I keep looking at my shoulder. I just can't see the screen at all, so this is not my apologies. Zero gravity front seats. This is another thing. We have had fantastic response with the seats. Again, this is a road trip car. This is a car that the family's going to get and drive all over the place with. And so with that, knowing that how the customer's going to use the vehicle, seats matter a lot. So this zero gravity seat, which we developed a few years ago as our company, using NASA research. I don't know if you've seen this information. It's quite. They looked to study the shape of spine and zero gravity in terms of what's the natural shape, and then really designed the shape of the seat to match that research that was done as a NASA research from a number of years ago. Really interesting, and it sounds like marketing hocus pocus, but drive the cars, the seats are fantastic. And so it'll speak for themselves. Really, heated seats, maybe not such a big deal for you guys down here, but standard heated seats, or standard heated steering wheel. This is very, very well equipped from the base condition. I'll mention in a minute, I was talking with Aileen or somebody a minute ago, I have a dealer product advisory board, so I have a subset of our dealers. Infiniti has fantastic dealers, constantly in the top 1 or 2 of all the brands in the country. We really, really love and appreciate our dealers. One of our dealers, Warren Zinn, so Warren Henry Auto Group, right over here. I don't know which way I'm pointing. Warren lives not far from here, a friend of mine. We have on the Lux trim, so just the first package, first trim level up. Forgive me for being older. We have the Warren Zinn Swamp Ass package. We have cooled seats on basically one off the back, everything but the base car. Which for don't quote me on that, please. That's internal. But I say to say, one reason I brought that up is we look at syndicated data. Obviously, lots of research, lots of data. You can make data tell whatever story you want. You have to be very careful. So you have to bounce that data off of real information or other confirmation points, and we use the dealers for that significantly. So the Florida dealers, Marvin Mercado was our former head of the AV. He was up in Stewart. Warren's right here in Miami. And so Florida has a loud voice in Infiniti product planning and strategy in North America. And so I think things like the Lux package with the cooled seats is a direct reflection of that. We often think it'll be good for us around the rest of the country, but particularly where you guys are here in this part of the country, very important. So we listen, lots of data, lots of people, try to make sure we do the right thing. So feeding and welcoming. You see all that other the features there, cool remote start, obviously heat for hot or cold days. So leave your seats uncooled, so you can do remote start in those hot summer days. It'll get those seats cooled off for you. And then the cabin. So a lot of energy, luxury car, and the standards continue to step up. The noise, the sound is very, very important. And so we've done a lot of interesting things from a technology point of view, like a thicker glass on the sides of the vehicles. You see here the list there, a lot of the numbers there, a lot of reductions. So 1 dB is a decibel is actually is a logarithmic scale. So 1 dB is actually really significant from a sound reduction point of view. You can see lots of energy, lots of thicker glass, even in the second row, laminated glass in this first row. So forgive me if I'm insulting your intelligence, but laminated glass that you have on your front windshield, there's a layer of glass, there's a membrane, and there's another layer of glass, right? So it doesn't fall, and if you get broken, it doesn't come into your face. That same technology is applied to the front windows and the side, because it has the added advantage of that extra laminated layer in the middle, helps block sound transmission. So I'm less concerned about objects flying through the side window, but leveraging that laminated glass in the front row on the side, so as the driver, your ear is right there, and so blocking that sound transmission through the doors. Lots of little thoughtful design elements that most customers never touch or feel, but when you drive the vehicle, you'll feel it's very quiet and serene. So I'm excited about that. A lot of energy, a lot of energy to that, and I hope you experience that today. Yeah, we'll talk more on. I could talk forever. Connected and informed. So of course, technology is everything these days. You'll see this car. I keep seeing this car. The all-new Qx60 has our dual 12.3-inch screens, both in the middle and the TFT in the middle, and the meter cluster. So lots of flexibility and ability to adjust with that standard, with that on the middle, 12.3 middle. We also have the heads-up display available on basically the Lux trim, which is the second trim up. And so when surveying and prioritizing how to package this vehicle, we felt like the heads-up display is a really important feature. Keeping your eyes on the road, it's visible. Every time the customer gets in the car, they will experience that heads-up display right in front of them. So where do you prioritize the investment in the vehicle, what can matter the most to the customer? Some of our competitors have heads-up display that's packaged way up in the grade walk, if that makes sense. You gotta spend a ridiculous amount, or a high-end amount of money to get to it. And so we felt like this is one of those key technologies to bring down in the grade walk. So experience, you'll see that. My team also knows I'm very, very kind of maniacal or crazy about complexity. And so when you look at our offerings, very, very distinct, the pricing strategy, the content strategy, very intentional. Everybody shops online, presenting the offering. The notion is curating. We work very hard to curate the offering and the packaging of our vehicles so that it's clear to each customer what each package is, what the virtues of each package. And so when we have an option like this heads-up display, the tech package on the vision package on the Lux grade is very intentional and thoughtful in that regard. So again, heads-up display, really proud of that one. I think it's going to matter a lot. USBs, of course, technology. I love what I do, and I tell people I can be the translator. We do the customer research to identify what we want, what we think the customer needs. And so I'll be in a meeting 2 nights ago, we were meeting with styling, the artists, their carving plays, communicating to the artists about this customer, right, and what they want and need, what they want the car to emote, what they want the car to say about them as a person. The next day I'm in a meeting with engineering and I say, well, that means I need 7 USBs and a heads-up display, and et cetera. So I love that, what I get to do. I'm a recovering engineer and a lifelong car guy, so I'm privileged to have a wonderful, wonderful job. And that's an example of that. So 7 USBs, every person in the car's got a USB. If you have children or 3, you don't go anywhere without devices. Right? I flew this morning here with my work phone, my personal phone, an iPad mini, and my laptop. I'm getting with the security, I'm not even that connected. Speaking of connecting, wireless charging obviously is becoming super, super important. Most devices now have that with wireless charging, widely applied, Wi-Fi hotspot again, connected to subscriptions, and then wireless CarPlay, and then wired Android Auto on this vehicle. So again, I'm sure you're all driving new cars, the wireless CarPlay is pretty amazing if you have it, and super handy to have for us. Again, there's those 7 USB again, all 3 rows. All 3 rows also important. The 3rd row has HVAC vents, has USBs. This isn't necessarily the case in all of our competitors. We want to really make sure every row has a comfortable and is a good place to be. In-touch services, you'll see this long list of specs and features here. Ability to do a number of things via your smart device from your vehicle remotely. So again, very handy, especially if you're landing at the airport and your car's been sitting in the sun for 3 days. You want to get that AC going a couple minutes before you get there. It's kind of nice to do that. Parking, so lots of energy around. Again, knowing this customer, how they're using the vehicle. This is going everywhere from malls, school lines, ballparks, whatever. This is a high utility vehicle. And you really want that peace of mind around you, whether it's kids running around the car at the school drop-off line, around view monitor with moving object detection. If you're familiar with this, so many acronyms. But if somebody walks in the vehicle, I had this happen. I drop my kids off to school. The kid from the car behind me comes up around the right side of the car, instead of on the sidewalk. AVM will alarm and give me an illumination to say, hey, look, make sure something's going on behind you to the right. And so those little details, those themes are really, really important. Safety matters a lot to this customer, and frankly, just convenience. Parking, I love AVM for parking. I like to direct the middle lines, but you guys, I'm sure, appreciate that already. Front parking sensors, I won't go through all the details, but this car has so many specs, it's so rich, and all around look on the customer needs and whatnot. Safety is paramount, no compromise on safety. Absolutely required for this customer. You can read the list: airbags, blind spot monitor, warning, standard, rear cross traffic alert. You can see the other ones. List acronyms are just endless, and it's all around the safety and making sure the customer feels like the car is serving them. There's no compromise on safety. If the car has any question on safety, it's just not on the shopping list, and so safety is just part of the core of that planning. To that end, I mentioned more acronyms for you. Rear automatic braking, which, if you recall, we launched the prior gen, the first generation of Qx60. We had the backup collision intervention, which is a huge success. Basically, this is the iteration of that technology, but we had it, on the first generation, which many of our competitors caught up with us later, try to catch up with us later. And again, I won't read through all the details, but you can see it, look at these materials. And confidence. So ProPilot, lane centering, highway scene, sort of used along long distance drive. Again, remember, this is a vehicle that's going to be used for vacations. Hauling from Nashville, we drive from Nashville to the Panhandle, Florida. That's our drive. So you go any holiday weekend, you're going to be a stream of Qx60s on the way to the beach. And so these scenes really matter, how they're being used. So that's where things like traffic sign recognition, the ProPilot Assist. Now we have NaviLink, so now the ability is just really cool. Take the navigation data. If there's a curve coming up, and the computer will automatically can slow the vehicle down a little bit, so you don't feel like you're going full speed into the corner. If that makes sense. So it has this intelligence to know we're turning, the highway's going to curve to the right or to the left. We need to adjust our speed a little bit to be able to make that curve without feeling, unnatural. Again, I mentioned ICC with blinker logic, so intelligent cruise control with blinker logic. If you guys have all used intelligent cruise control, one of the problems is, you're going to turn, you're going to change lanes to the left, but it sees the car in front of you, so it's starting to brake, but you're turning. If you bump that blinker turn signal, it tells the computer, hey, this guy's going to accelerate. They're going to accelerate and pass that car, so don't hit the brakes on you. Does that make sense? You know that scene?
Yeah.
Try it. It's fantastic. It's a nice little adjustment. You're still on to change the lanes, but you're able to communicate and tell the car that, hey, I'm changing lanes. Don't e-brake on the car in front of me. It's a nice improvement on the technology. And I mentioned, let's go to the second page. So you can see this, you'll have it in your deck. It's very nice improvement on ProPilot Assist, which is a very well-loved feature on our cars just for road trips. And then cabin, you can see, again, it's a big vehicle. Packaging is very important. A lot of energy in the packaging and entrance. Egress, will use some numbers here in a minute. A lot of things you'll see, now with a 9-speed transmission, it's actually shipped by wire, so there's no actual linkage under the center console. And so we actually utilize that space for ladies' bags or men's, whatever, right? Put your stuff underneath of there. A lot of attention to detail and making sure we use the space in the vehicle very intelligently. You can see from a hip to heel, we call that where your rear end is to where your heel is. That's that distance, so your comfort. We've really improved significantly in the second row with nearly 1.5 inches, and also again in the third row as well, based on packaging improvements for the design. 14 bottle holders. 14.
I love that.
4 that hold bottles. So you got your analogies, your bigger jugs, which is again, silly detail. It matters a lot to people. It's not a silly detail.
No, it's not.
It's not. People are really just they live in our vehicles. So easy access. I mentioned a little about this. You can see one of the features we had in the first generation Qx60 that was very well received is this tilt and slide second row seat. You can leave your child seat in the seat. No, it's not in the picture, but if we now have push buttons, a button here and a button on the back, so the little brothers in the very back, they don't get stuck back there. There's a button on the back and a button here. They'll automatically make the seat tilt and slide forward. We've increased the egress to the third row by the location, by being able to pull the seat further forward. But also, if you have a child seat in the second row, you can still tilt and slide the seat forward. If there's a kid in there, if there's the weight of a child in the seat, it won't work, which is good. Little Jimmy in the back pushing little Sarah into the front seat. So we thought about that. I have 3 children, so I pressure test all these things, and so there's a nice safety check there. But very appreciated by our customer. you know, if you have a child, it's either a pain to put them out of the vehicle, you don't want to take them out, you want to be able to get the child get to the third row easily, so this is the way we achieve that. Again, really thinking about the customer in mind. And then family friendly, you see all this zero gravity mentioned before. Captain chairs on the second row on the autograph. You get the center console here. Is very easy removed. There's a little trim cover on the front you pop off. There's a spring-loaded trigger. You just pop it out. I can show you outside. It's super easy. It's one of those things we've seen people very passionate about. They either want the console or they want the walkthrough. And so this really gives you the best of both worlds. My family, we use basically around town, we leave it in, or sorry, around town we take it out. On a road trip, we pop it in for the road trip because we want to, put the tablets or devices or whatever in those spots. But it gives you the flexibility to do that. So you can, what happens in my family, of 3, they rush to the car, the 2 fastest get in the second row, and they're not gonna budge to let the youngest or the other one get to the third row, if that makes sense. So for me, the pass-through makes a lot of sense. So they'll crawl over and crawl through to get to the third row. So again, there's all the different seats that people use their family, whether it's a car seat or you've got 3, 11 to 16 that are racing because they prefer to be in the big captain's chairs. This is the race. This is life, right? This is life. And so the vehicles around designed to make it happy. So I'd be less than honest if I didn't say there's some of Tim Franklin's family experiences in this vehicle, which I think they're shared experiences as well. And Clark's. Yeah, so we talked about some of this. One thing you also notice is the theater style. We have walked away from, or we've walked away with this vehicle that we don't have the no longer integrated second row head tablets in the headrest, which gave us a couple of things. Headrest is really nice, beautifully styled piece of equipment. If you notice the shape and the stitching, it's very attractive. You're not having the packages screen in there anymore. And so that's nice. It also gives you visibility. So you're helped from the forward visibility, the second row elevator slightly over the first row, and by shrinking that headrest or line of sight, you're also, it's a significant improvement from a comfort and visibility for the second row. In addition to the overhead panoramic roof, which also makes the car feel big and open and airy. Small details actually really make a difference when you add them up. I'm a recovering engineer, I think I mentioned that. One of the things that's really fun, little details, I wish there's so many great stories behind the development of these vehicles that never make it out. But there is actually a damper on the second row seat to reduce the vibration of the second row seat for comfort reasons. Wow. So just, vehicle vibrations, you're always, these things getting transmitted through. And so to make the vehicle, I mentioned it here, but if you flip the seat up and take apart the underside of the seat, there's actually a mass damper on there made to absorb and help reduce the vibration of the seat. Little details that customers will never actually know what that is, but they recognize the benefit of it. So many fun little stories to that. 4-latch, that's another big thing we found. Young families having a latch point in the third row is also really important. Sometimes you put the kid seat in, but maybe you're in the boosters, a little taller seats, and you want to leave it in there. You can latch it in place in the third row and not leave it there. Tri-zone, get comfort for every row. Air vents in the third row. Again, we're in Florida. This matters a lot. If you're in the third row of one of these things, you need airflow. There's air vents back there and USBs back there. It's not a penalty box. It's actually a nice place to be. Yeah, that detail. No, it matters a lot. And the space again, this is a sport utility vehicle. Little details like you'll notice, even you lift at the back, you lift that the cargo truck, the bin cover in the back. It's on resistance hinges, so you're not having to do the elbow up load gear thing. It's small little details that matter. You can pull the hinge up with the lid, it'll stay in place. You load your gear, you can close it back down. Again, you allow flexibility with cargo space. A third row return, so you flip the seat, it falls down very easily with gravity, and there's a one-touch button that'll return all the way back up. Again, very nice feature. People appreciate not having to lean over and grab and pull the third row back to its seating position. Again, you'll hopefully experience that and you can try it out. And this is my last slide. I said I love detail. Oh, the white kind of washes out there. You'll have this information. But what I mentioned before about product strategy. So there's 4 trim levels, and then all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive. And then really basically 3 packages. Very, very intentional, thoughtful packaging strategy. Really driven by our retailers. We combine with our research and customer knowledge, really working to make sure that the packages make sense, the pricing strategy makes sense, package strategy makes sense. The customers go online, this is a preaching point, they go online, they shop, part of the journey is making sure it's clear and simple. And they shop and they figure out, oh, I really like this autograph, or I like this sensory, or whatever. And then they go to the retailer and they say, oh, I want a sensory in blue. And if you offer too much complexity, the retailers only have so many vehicles, right? And so it's a partnership in making sure that we serve up the right number of offerings that meet the customer's needs. Sometimes the offering packages can be too small, it's just noise, and it's like, it creates confusion or frustration. And this is a lot of energy went into making sure the package strategy makes sense, both from an MSRP and lease price point strategy. And offering wide, like I mentioned, this vision package, bringing heads-up display. Oh, I didn't even mention smart rearview mirror. Are you familiar with the smart rearview mirror? So where the rear mirror is actually a video screen, so there's this extra camera in the back that, so if you use this vehicle like we do with families, you low gear all the way, it's full of people and full gear. You can't see out of the back of it on long road trips. Where this, you can leave it in the camera mode where you see beautifully out the back. It's really, really nice feature of technology. We launched it on Qx80, now it's on Qx60. And then auto adaptive front lighting, again, nice to have the headlamp adjustment. Again, important feature technology. Anyway, with that, I think I probably went over my time.
You're doing fine.
Did I hit anything? Do we want to do a Q&A now? Do you want to, any questions off the top of your head, or we can talk later, I'm around?
I have a
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
Yes, I have a question. I would circle back to the 7 USB ports. Any of those fit the new iPhone 13 series?
Yes, some of them are the new Type-C USB, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Thank you for answering that. It's in the slide, yes.
Tim, what about the price? This baby.
They're right here.
Where?
On the right, on the left here.
Yeah.
Very, very, I think, you know, we're, with the content that's in there, we think it's very competitively priced in the marketplace. And I think the driving experience, I'm hopeful, what you guys write and communicate,
Yeah.
I think what the car is really proud of it. And, but I think the pricing will help retain the customers we have and also earn new customers.
Tim, Grant Miller, Community Newspapers.
Grant?
I live in the south end, so I drive by the Gables Infiniti on Lejeune, and I go to South Motors.
Yeah.
But between going to your dealership, forget Warren Henry for a second.
Yeah.
I drive by 5 other dealerships. I want a car like yours. I pull in the Kendall Toyota, I pull in the Williams and Cadillac, I pull in the Honda, I can pull in the, what's your car special? What would you say in a couple words?
Yeah, for sure.
And I have 2 boys, they play baseball, I need a big car for tournaments. So what's special about that car that you just talked about?
Well, buying a new car is always an emotional experience. It's never rational, right? First, you gotta start there. You buy it from the outside, and it's a beautiful car. It moves us. I think that's the first look, frankly. This second in particular is a very, very interesting combination of rational and emotional. So this checks the emotional boxes. The interior, I don't know if you got an autograph, I mean, it is gorgeous. I'll put our head interior up with anybody in the market in the segment. And this is a luxury car. You want to get in that car, you sit in it, it's beautiful. Go find any of those cars you mentioned. Let's say the Lux, like kind of a popular trim, Lux trim. None are going to have a cool seat. You're in South Florida, you're going to have a cool seat in ours. You're not going to. So the features like that matter a lot. So I would say from an emotional point of view, looks beautiful. The we call non-feature value, the money we put into styling, materials, quality. Again, I put it with any of them. And then from the rational point of view, I mentioned obviously the 3-row fold flat, easy to get the back, easy to fold the seats back up. The second row utility, easy to tilt and slide, climbing over seats to get into the 3rd row, very easy to use. So just the functional utility of it is good. Fuel economy is basically best in class. I mean, you can get some very underpowered options, might have a little better economy, but you're gonna sack the fun drive element of it. So it's beautiful, it's fun to drive. You're not gonna take it to a repair shop every, whatever. That's Japanese quality durability is part of our ethos and part of what we're committed to. And so I think that's also a strong point for Infiniti as a brand. And then I mentioned our retailers also. I mean, customers love our dealers. The only one I think this year that came out that beat us was Porsche, which is that's a special case. So I don't know, did that help?
Yeah, one of the things that is important, I said, I did not go on Henry, but the service department, people ask me all the time, what kind of car are you buying? I said, the most important to me.
Let me once again congratulate Infiniti. What a wonderful presentation. We thank you for coming. I have been a long-time member of SAMA, and the presentation was awesome.
Thank you.
And I thank you. As it relates to the auto show, it's good to see many of you again. We had a wonderful press day at the auto show on October 16th. You had Nissan, which did a wonderful event on the 15th, which many of you are still talking about. We had Toyota did a nice press conference. Jeep did a breakfast on the 16th, and you know, we had other press conferences as well. It was a different type of auto show, to say the least, but nonetheless, there was a lot of discussion of whether to have the auto show or do as unfortunately many other shows had done and decide to cancel. We decided to go forward. Hopefully those of you that attended, I've heard positive things, hopefully those of you who attended felt we made the right decision. I know the attendance numbers were slightly off, which is to be expected in this day and age. But we were very happy with the show. We had great feedback that the entertainment experience was there. Of course, there were a lot of lines that decided to skip it for this year for clear and obvious reasons. Hopefully they'll be back with us next year. We're looking at fall of 2022, maybe October. Again, we're negotiating with the convention center to see which dates are available. So I thank you all for coming, supporting the show like you do every year. It's kind of a team effort, and we obviously rely on you to tell our story. So for that, I say thank you and have a good holiday to all of you.
Thank you, John. Okay, guys. That was it for today. Now you can go to Little Habana and have a cafecito in Versailles. I'm kidding. Enjoy your lunch. Thank you.
And cheese. Y tres. 1, 2 y 3. 1, 2 y 3.